Your brain is not broken, but right now it is drowning, and you have been told the wrong story about why. Here is the truth. No one in your productivity app, your morning routine video, or your wellness subscription is telling you the crushing mental fog you feel before noon, the wall you hit around 2 in the afternoon, the moment your screen blurs and your thoughts scatter like smoke. That is not laziness. That is not weakness. That is a biological alarm going off inside your skull, ringing so long that most people have stopped hearing it entirely. They call it Tuesday. They call it adulting. But it has a name. It has a mechanism. And once you understand what is happening inside your brain, you will never look at your mental fog the same way again. Because in the next 7 minutes, you are going to learn the protocol that rewires the cycle, resets the signal, and gives you back the clarity you thought you had permanently lost. This is not motivational content. This is neuroscience with teeth. Before we go any further, drop the word reset in the comments right now. Not because it is a social media trick, because the act of doing something intentional, even typing a single word, begins the interrupt sequence we are about to teach you. Your nervous system just registered a command. That matters. We will explain why in about 60 seconds. Now, let us talk about the real enemy. It is 2026. The average American adult processes more information before 10 in the morning than their grandparents encountered in an entire week. That is a documented cognitive load shift. You wake up, and within 4 minutes, most people have already checked a phone. Before your prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, filtering, planning, and focus, has even reached full activation temperature, it is already being flooded. Notifications, headlines, arguments on the internet, family messages, work pings. Your brain is like a computer that someone keeps force-launching programs on before the operating system has finished booting, and you wonder why you crash by noon. The overload is not accidental. The modern attention economy is engineered to extract your cognitive resources before you have a chance to protect them. Every app, every autoplay video, every algorithmically timed notification is designed by behavioral scientists whose job is to keep your dopamine system in a specific fragile state. Hungry, reactive, dependent. Dopamine crash explains the fog. And that brings us to fact 1. Dopamine. You know it as the feel-good chemical. But what most people do not know, what the Rutgers University Cognitive Neuroscience team published findings on in 2026, is the mechanism behind what researchers now call dopamine depletion fog. Here is the simplified version, and it changes everything about how you approach your own brain. Dopamine is not just about pleasure. It is your brain's currency for motivation, focus, and signal prioritization. Every notification, micro-task, or tiny unpredictable reward releases a small burst. This feels productive even, but here is what happens biologically when this cycle runs on, repeat for hours. Your dopamine receptors begin to downregulate. They become less sensitive. The same inputs that used to generate a real motivational spark now barely register. Your brain needs more stimulation to feel anything, and simultaneously loses the ability to generate the slow, sustained dopamine flow that actual focused work requires. The result is a state that looks exactly like laziness from the outside, but is actually a neurological resource crisis on the inside. You are not unmotivated. You are running on a depleted neurochemical system that has been strip-mined before you ever sat down to do the thing that matters. This is not a character flaw. This is what happens when a brain designed for a savanna is forced to live inside a dopamine slot machine all day long. The Rutgers findings highlighted that mid-morning and mid-afternoon fog correlates with measurable drops in dopamine receptor sensitivity, following high-stimulation digital behavior, not simply sleep deprivation or diet as previously assumed. This is critical because the solution is not more coffee. It is not more sleep, although sleep matters. It is an active neurological interrupt, a pattern break that speaks the language your nervous system actually understands. Sensory interrupt. Snap plus cold. Which brings us directly to fact 2. Your brain is a prediction engine, not a passive processor. Your nervous system forecasts what comes next based on what just happened. When you are deep in the fog cycle, your brain has learned a specific loop: stimulation, micro-reward, crash, reach for more stimulation. It has run this pattern so many times it executes automatically. You pick up your phone before consciously deciding to. You click before thinking about clicking. The loop runs itself. To break a predicted pattern, you need what behavioral neuroscientists call a sensory interrupt. Something that arrives with real novelty and physical distinctiveness, that it cannot be absorbed into the existing loop. Jarring enough to say, this is new information, recalibrate. This is where the two-part sensory interrupt comes in, and it sounds almost too simple, which is exactly what makes people underestimate it and then become completely converted once they try it. Part 1 is the snap. Not a performance snap, a sharp, deliberate, firm snap of your fingers, as loud as you can make it right there in the middle of your fog. The auditory sharpness combined with the physical kinesthetic sensation creates a dual-channel input that your brain registers as outside the current loop. Research in sensory-based behavioral interruption shows that simultaneous multi-channel input, sound plus physical sensation, is significantly more effective at breaking automated loops than either input alone. One snap, you are telling your nervous system, something changed. Part 2 is cold. Not an ice bath, a brief cold water application to the inner wrists or the back of the neck, 10 to 15 seconds under cold tap water. The thermoreceptors in those skin areas send rapid signals through your vagus nerve into your brainstem, triggering an immediate parasympathetic response. Your heart rate shifts, your breathing deepens, your brain, stuck in a low-signal, high-stimulation loop, receives a foreign input that forces a physiological gear change. Together, the snap and the cold take under 60 seconds, but what they accomplish is extraordinary. They interrupt the automated dopamine-seeking loop, open a gap in the noise, and prepare your nervous system for what comes next. Breath 4 to 2, 6, plus visual anchor. And what comes next is fact 3. You are now standing at a biological window, a moment your nervous system is actually receptive to a new pattern. This is where most people waste the opening. They interrupt the loop and immediately reach back for the same stimulation that created the problem. Phone back up. Tab reopened. The window closes. Instead, you're going to use a breath protocol called 4-2-6, combined with what cognitive behavioral researchers call a visual anchor. 4-2-6 means this: inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. The extended exhale is the critical element. Exhaling longer than you inhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your calm and focused state, more deeply than any other breath ratio. The 2-second hold creates a carbon dioxide buffer that enhances oxygen uptake and normalizes heart rate variability, a direct correlate of your capacity for sustained attention. 3 cycles of 4-2-6, that is roughly 45 seconds. During the 3rd exhale, you introduce the visual anchor, a technique adapted from cognitive behavioral interventions. Choose one fixed point in your environment, a corner of a wall, a specific object on your desk, a crack in the ceiling, and bring your full visual attention to it on that final exhale. Name it silently. Observe one detail. Focused visual attention during a parasympathetic activating exhale creates a paired neural association. Over time, simply looking at that point triggers the calm, focused state on its own. Without the full breath sequence, you are training your nervous system to have a focus switch built into your surroundings. This is not mysticism. This is classical conditioning applied to your own neurology with deliberate intent. The daily protocol. Now let us put the complete protocol together, because this is where the daily practice lives. Morning. Within the first 5 minutes of waking, before the phone, before the news, before any digital input, you do 2 cycles of 4-2-6 with your eyes closed. You are establishing the baseline neurological state you want your brain to return to all day. You are planting the flag. Mid-morning reset, when you feel the first edge of fog, not when already deep in it, but when focus starts to slip, you execute the sensory interrupt. 1 deliberate snap. 30 seconds of cold water on your wrists. 3 rounds of 4-2-6. Visual anchor on the final exhale. You are back. Afternoon anchor around 2 to 3 o'clock, when dopamine receptor sensitivity hits its daily low. Following morning stimulation, you repeat the mid-morning reset. Same sequence. You are not fighting the biology. You are working with it. Evening close, 10 minutes before any evening digital content. Streaming, social media, group chats, 1 round of 4-2-6 with your visual anchor. You are building a buffer between your focused day and your passive consumption period, reducing overnight cortisol disruption that is degrading your sleep and setting you up for worse fog tomorrow. This is the protocol. 7 minutes, 3 applications daily, neurologically grounded, practically executable, no equipment, no subscription, no gym, no perfect morning. But the protocol is the foundation, not the ceiling. Brain Focus Mastery Ebook, plus NeuroSharp. If you want to go deeper, understand the full framework for sharpening your cognitive edge, reducing dopamine sensitivity drift, and building focus architecture over weeks rather than hours, there is a resource in the description built specifically for this community. The Brain Focus Mastery ebook is free, linked in the description below this video. Inside, you will find the extended dopamine receptor recalibration protocol, the complete sleep-to-focus pipeline most neuroscience content never teaches, advanced visual anchoring techniques that elite performers use, and the exact daily tracking framework to measure your cognitive clarity improvement over 21 days. Free, in the description right now. And while you are in the description, take 30 seconds to look at NeuroSharp, linked right below the ebook. NeuroSharp is a cognitive support system built specifically for the brain fog fighter, not a stimulant, not a shortcut, a research-informed stack built around the same neurological principles we just explored together. This is the tool this community keeps coming back to, not because they were told to, but because their brain finally started working the way they needed. You showed up today because something is not working. Your brain knows it. You feel it every morning when the fog rolls in, before you have even had a chance to start. But now, you know what is happening. You know the mechanism. You know the interrupt. You know the breath. You know the anchor. You have a complete protocol that most people spend years trying to piece together from scattered sources, expensive programs, and trial and error that costs them years of their cognitive peak. Drop reset in the comments if you are running this protocol tomorrow morning. Not someday, tomorrow. The comment becomes the commitment becomes the habit rewires the brain. Your focus is not gone. It has been waiting for the right signal. Now give it one. Thanks for watching. Like, share, a comment and subscribe.